Time doesn't heal all wounds, but it does teach us to carry them differently. Good evening. Good late evening, actually. If you are listening to this right now, if you found your way here in the quiet hours, past the noise of the day, past the conversations, and the obligations and everything that pulls at you from the moment you open your eyes in the morning, then I want you to know something before we even begin tonight. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, right here, right now, in this moment. I'm your friend, Arthur, and I am so genuinely glad that you came back. For those of you who are new here, welcome. Welcome to this little corner of the night that we have built together, slowly, story by story, letter by letter. This is a place where the world outside does not matter for a while. This is a place where your shoulders can drop, where your jaw can unclench, where you don't have to be anything other than a tired human being who deserves a little peace before sleep. And that is all you need to be tonight. Just a person, just breathing, just here. And that is more than enough. Before we go any further into the night, I want to take just a small, honest moment to speak directly to you. If this channel has ever given you comfort, if you have ever fallen asleep to one of these stories and woken up feeling even just a tiny bit lighter, I want to gently ask you to consider subscribing. If you haven't already, leave a like on tonight's broadcast. Drop a comment down below, even if it's just a single word about how you are feeling tonight. It genuinely means the world to me. It tells me that this space is still needed, that these late nights I spend crafting these stories for you are doing something real in the world. It gives me the motivation to keep showing up here week after week, to keep this light on for you. So if you can, please do that. It costs you nothing, and it means everything to me. Thank you, truly. Now, let us settle in. I want you to take a breath right now. A slow one, in through your nose. Hold it gently for just a moment, and then let it out through your mouth. Let your body remember that it is allowed to rest. Let your mind remember that whatever happened today, whatever is still turning itself over in your thoughts right now, it does not have to be solved tonight. Tonight, we are going to do something quieter. Tonight, we are going to sit with a feeling that almost every single person on this earth carries somewhere inside them. Most of us carry it in a place we don't talk about very often. We carry it in the quiet moments, in the in-between spaces of a normal Tuesday afternoon when a song comes on the radio and something old and sharp and unexpected rises up in your chest for just a second before you push it back down again. Tonight, we are going to talk about that feeling. We are going to sit with it. And then by the end of this night, I hope we are going to let some of it go, because that is what tonight is really about. Letting go, not in a dramatic way, not in a way that requires a big decision or a conversation or a ceremony of any kind. Just the quiet, private, personal act of setting something heavy down on the floor and choosing not to pick it back up again. Just realizing in the stillness of a late night, it's something that used to hurt you, something that you carried for years like a stone in your pocket, doesn't feel quite so sharp anymore. And that is one of the most beautiful, most underrated feelings of all of human experience. The quiet moment of realization. The moment when you discover that time, that slow and patient and sometimes brutal teacher has finally done its quiet work inside you without you even noticing. I think about this a lot. I think about how we talk about heartbreak, how we talk about it like it is a wound, which it is, but we rarely talk about the healing. We rarely talk about what it actually looks like when a broken heart finally, slowly, almost secretly, begins to mend itself. We talk about the pain in great detail, the sleepless nights, the weight in the chest, the way food loses its taste, and music sounds different. The future feels like a wall instead of a road. We know those feelings well. Most of us have lived inside those feelings at some point. Some of us lived inside them for a very long time. But the healing, the actual slow and quiet healing, it doesn't arrive like a sunrise. It doesn't arrive with a sign or a feeling of completion. It arrives more like the tide going out while you are asleep. You don't see it happening. You don't feel it in the moment. And then one ordinary night, completely out of nowhere, you look down and you realize that the water is gone. The ground beneath your feet is dry, and you are standing there, still breathing, and the thing that used to pull you under is nowhere to be found. That is the story we are sitting with tonight. It came to me in a letter, a real letter, handwritten and sent in the old way by a person named James. And I want to read it to you slowly, the way it deserves to be read, because James wrote this at a late hour, in a quiet room, after something unexpected happened to him, something small and private that ended up meaning everything. And I think when I read you his words, you're going to recognize something in them. I think you are going to feel something shift, even slightly, in your own chest. Because James is not writing about a unique experience. He is writing about something universal, something that lives quietly inside almost all of us who have ever loved someone and then lost them in a way that left a mark. So get comfortable now, wherever you are, however you are listening to this. I want you to make yourself as comfortable as possible. If you are in bed, pull the covers a little higher. Let your head sink into your pillow. If you're sitting somewhere, let your back rest against whatever is behind you. Close your eyes if you want to. You don't have to watch anything. You don't have to see anything. Just listen. Just let my voice carry you. And let James' story do what I believe it was always meant to do, which is remind you that healing is real, that it happens even when we are not trying, and that the heart, your heart, is far more capable of finding its way back to peace than you have probably given it credit for. Let us go to James now. It is late into the night when this story really begins. Not the kind of late where people are still awake by choice, out at restaurants or watching the end of a film. The kind of late where the whole neighborhood has gone quiet, where the street lights stand alone in the dark, and the only sound is the rain. And it was raining that night. Not a gentle, polite rain. A full, heavy, deliberate rain. The kind that drums steadily on the roof and runs in wide streams down the window panes. It makes the whole world outside look like it is made of soft, moving light. The kind of rain that makes staying inside feel like the most natural and correct thing in the world. The kind of rain that makes a warm, lamp-lit room feel like the safest place on earth. James was in his bedroom. He was not trying to have a meaningful night. He was not sitting down with the intention of revisiting his past or examining his feelings or doing anything remotely emotional. He was just cleaning, doing one of those late-night tasks that suddenly feels urgent for no clear reason. The kind that starts with the simple thought of, I should really sort out that shelf one of these days. And before you know it, it is nearly midnight, and you are surrounded by stacked books and old magazines, and the quiet smell of dust. He had been meaning to go through his bookshelf for months, maybe longer than that. There were books on that shelf he had not touched in years. Books from a different life, almost. Books from a version of himself that felt, in many ways, like a stranger. The shelf was old, dark wood, slightly warped on one side. The kind of furniture that has been with a person long enough to become invisible. James had bought it secondhand years ago, back when he was still young enough to furnish his apartment with things found at markets and garage sales, back when money was tight, but the future felt enormous and wide open. The shelf had moved with him 3 times since then, and every time he moved, the books came with it, packed into cardboard boxes, unpacked in a new room, placed back on the same shelf in roughly the same order, never really sorted, never really looked at, just carried from one place to the next like furniture, like background, like part of the scenery of a life. He was pulling books out one by one, blowing the dust off the tops of them, stacking them into loose piles on the floor. Some he decided to keep, some he decided to give away. Most of them he simply held for a moment, turning them over in his hands, reading a few lines from the back cover, feeling the particular, private feeling of touching an object that belongs to a different chapter of your own story. There is something so strange and quiet about that feeling. The way a book can hold a whole period of your life inside its pages, without you even realizing. The way picking up a paperback can suddenly place you back inside a moment you thought you had forgotten completely. And then he pulled out the book. He almost didn't even notice it at first. It was wedged between 2 thicker books near the bottom of the shelf, spine facing out, the title barely legible after all these years. A small, thin paperback with a faded cover, the kind of book that was clearly bought in a hurry from a table of discounted books outside a shop, the kind that was read quickly and then tucked away and never thought about again. James could not even remember buying it. He almost put it directly into the pile of books to be given away, without even opening it. Almost. But something made him open it. He turned it over in his hands. He looked at the cover for a moment. He opened it to the first page and saw his own name written there in his own handwriting. Young handwriting. The writing of a man in his mid-20s who still pressed the pen too hard into the paper. He saw the year, 1997, and then, as he opened the book a little wider and turned to the first few pages, something small and folded fell out from between them and landed on the floor near his feet. He looked down at it. It was a note, folded into a small, neat rectangle, the paper slightly yellowed with age, the edges soft and worn from all the years it had spent pressed between those pages. He bent down and picked it up slowly. He held it in his palm for a moment without opening it. The way you might hold something you suspect is fragile, something you are not sure yet whether you want to disturb. The rain kept going outside. The lamp on his desk threw a warm, amber circle of light across the room. The house was completely quiet except for the rain and the soft sound of his own breathing. And James unfolded the note. The handwriting was hers. He knew it instantly. Even after all those years, even after nearly 3 decades, you knew it the same way you know a voice. Before you even process the words, The same way your body recognizes something before your mind catches up. The ink was faded, that particular blue that old ink turns when it has been sitting in the dark for a long time, somewhere between blue and gray, like the color of the sky just before a storm fully arrives. The letters were small and slightly slanted, pressed into the paper in a way that was entirely and unmistakably hers. And James stood there in his quiet bedroom, in his late night room full of stacked books, and the smell of old paper and the sound of the heavy rain, and he read her words. He read them slowly. When he finished, he read them again. And here's where I want to read you his letter, because James wrote to me a few days after that night. He sat down and he wrote out everything he felt, everything he experienced in that quiet room, and he sent it to me because he said he needed someone to hear it. He said he had not told anyone else. He said it felt too private, too personal, too much like something that happened in a place inside himself that most people never get to see. But he wanted it to be heard. He wanted to say it out loud, in a way. He wanted to know that someone was listening. So I am going to read you James' letter now. His exact words, as he wrote them to me. His name is James. And this is what he said. Arthur, I'm not even sure how to start this. I've been sitting here for a few minutes just staring at the page, because I don't really know how to put into words what happened to me the other night. I'm going to try, though. I feel like I need to. So it was a Thursday night. Late. I mean really late. The kind of late where you should definitely be asleep, but you're not, because something got into you, and you started cleaning out your bookshelf, and suddenly, it's almost midnight, and you're surrounded by books on the floor, and you can't remember exactly how you got there. It was raining, really raining, the kind of rain that just doesn't let up, that just keeps going and going. And I had my desk lamp on, and the rest of the room was dark, and honestly, it was kind of a nice night, you know? Just me and the rain and the quiet. I wasn't sad or anything. I wasn't in a mood. I was just doing this thing I've been putting off forever, just cleaning. And then I found this old paperback. I don't even remember the title anymore. It doesn't matter. I opened it up just to flip through, and this note fell out. And Arthur, I want to tell you, the second it hit the floor, I felt something. Before I even picked it up, something in my stomach, something weird and old, like my body recognized it before my brain did. I picked it up, and I unfolded it, and I saw her handwriting. I froze. I actually froze. I stood there completely still for I don't even know how long, just looking at her handwriting. It was her. Of course it was her. Who else would have left a note in a book on my shelf in 1997? It was her. For the record, I'm not going to use her name. I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But you'll understand. We were together when I was 24. She was 22. And Arthur, I loved her in a way that I genuinely did not know I was capable of. That's the only way I can put it. I didn't know love could feel like that. I didn't know another person could matter to you in a way that makes every single ordinary moment feel different. Feel like it means something. She made me feel like the world was bigger than I thought it was. Like I was bigger than I thought I was. And I know that sounds like something you write in a poem, but I'm telling you, that's just what it was. That's the truth of it. And then it ended. And it ended badly. I'm not going to get into all of it, because honestly, that's not what this letter is about. But I will say that it was the kind of ending that doesn't feel like an ending. It was the kind of ending that just sort of explodes, and then you're standing in the middle of it, trying to figure out what happened, and everything is just broken. There was anger, there was hurt, there was the kind of silence between two people that is louder than any argument. And for a long time after that, for years, honestly, just hearing certain things would bring it all back. A song, a specific smell, someone mentioning a street name, and I would feel it again. That tight, anxious, awful feeling, like something in my chest that never quite went away. I'm not proud of the fact that I carried it for as long as I did. I went on with my life. I did. I moved, I worked, I met other people. I built a whole life that is genuinely good and that I'm grateful for. But that thing was still there. That old, buried hurt. I thought I was over it. I told myself I was over it. But every now and then something would catch me off guard, and I would realize that I was still carrying it. Still. So I'm standing there in my bedroom at midnight holding this note in my hands. And I'm reading her words she had just written. It was nothing dramatic, just a little note. I think she must have left it in my book years ago as a joke, maybe just because she wanted to leave something there. I don't know. It said something sweet, something private, something that was so completely, perfectly her that I actually had to sit down. I sat down on the edge of my bed with the note in my hands and the rain coming down outside and the room all warm and dark around me. And here's the thing, Arthur, here is the thing I need to tell you. It didn't hurt. I'm serious. I read her words and I sat there and I waited for the thing. I waited for that tight, awful chest feeling. I waited for the anxiety, for the wave of it, for the whole familiar, awful parade that used to come with anything that reminded me of her. And it didn't come. I sat there for a long time. I read the note again. I thought about her. I actually let myself think about her, which I haven't done on purpose in a very long time. I thought about what we were like together. I thought about the good things. I thought about her laugh, the way she used to steal the blanket, and the way she mispronounced a specific word that I never corrected her on, because I thought it was the most endearing thing I'd ever heard. I thought about all. And Arthur, it was just warm. It was just soft.
It was like remembering something from a dream.
Something that was real, that mattered, and that I was genuinely glad happened to me. Not something that hurt, not something broken, just something that was, and that is finished, and that is okay. I sat there for probably an hour, just me, and the note, and the rain and all of it, and at some point, I realized I was crying a little, not in a sad way, in a different way, the kind of crying that happens when something inside you releases, when your body is just letting go of something it's been holding for a very long time. And I thought, okay, it's done. It's really done. Not just the relationship. I knew that was done, but the wound, the carrying, the weight of it, that's done too. I put the note back in the book, gently. I put the book back on the shelf, and I turned off my lamp, and I lay down, and I listened to the rain. I slept better than I have slept in. I can't even tell you how long. Years maybe. I'm writing to you because I needed someone to know that this happened, that this is real, the time, that slow, invisible, patient thing, it actually worked. I didn't believe it for a long time. People kept telling me it would get easier, and I kept not believing them. And honestly, sometimes I resented them for saying it, because it felt like something you say to someone when you don't know what else to say. But it's true. It just works differently than you expect. It doesn't arrive like a decision. It doesn't arrive like a moment where you choose to be healed. It arrives like Thursday night, like midnight, like rain on the window, and an old book and a note in faded blue ink. It arrives quietly when you're not looking for it. And it's there. And you realize you're okay. You're really, actually okay. Thank you for this space, Arthur. I don't know if I would have written this down anywhere if not for you. Keep doing what you do. James. James. I read your letter twice, and then I sat with it for a while before I felt ready to respond. Because what you shared in those pages deserved more than a quick answer. It deserved the same patience that the thing you experienced deserved. The same quiet. The same respect. And so I want to take my time with this now, speaking to you directly, and through you, to everyone who is listening tonight in the dark. First, I want to say thank you for trusting me with this. I know it takes something real to write down the things that live in the private corners of yourself and send them to a stranger, even a stranger who sits in a quiet room and speaks in a low voice and tries his best to create a safe place. It still takes courage to say, here is something tender in me. Here is something I have been keeping close, and I want to share it. So thank you, James. I mean that genuinely. Now I want to talk about something that your letter brought up for me, and I suspect it might bring up for a lot of the people listening tonight. You said something that I think a lot of people are afraid to admit. You said you carried it longer than you are proud of. You said you built a good life, a genuinely good life, and yet the old thing was still in there, still quiet, and lodged somewhere deep. You thought you were supposed to be over it. You thought enough time had passed and enough living had happened, and you should be able to look back on that chapter without feeling anything difficult. I want to address that directly because I think a lot of people feel shame about this, about still carrying something old, about still feeling the echo of a heartbreak that happened years ago, even decades ago, even when life has moved on and grown to become something new and good. People feel like there is a timeline, like they should have healed faster, like the fact that something still stings after all this time means something is wrong with them, that they are weak, or that they love too much, or that they have not tried hard enough to let go. And I want to say this as clearly and as gently as I possibly can. There is nothing wrong with you. There was never anything wrong with you. Hearts do not follow timelines. Healing does not follow schedules. The mind and the heart are not machines that process grief in a neat and predictable way, finishing one thing completely before moving on to the next. They are messy and layered and complex. And they are doing the work even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when you're going about your ordinary days, going to work and cooking dinner and calling your family, watching films on a Friday night, there is a part of you that's quietly, steadily, invisibly doing the work of healing, even when you cannot see it, even when you cannot feel it, even when you think it has stopped entirely. It hasn't. It's still going. And then one night, late into the night, you pick up an old book and a small folded note falls out, and you realize the work is done. You realize it finished sometime in the night while you were sleeping. Sometime during an ordinary Tuesday you'll never be able to identify. It finished quietly, without announcement, without ceremony, and you are standing there in the lamplight. You are whole. That is what happened to you, James. And it is one of the most beautiful things a person can experience. I also want to talk about what you said about the relationship ending badly. I know you did not go into details. You did not need to. The details are yours, and you can keep them. But I heard what you were saying underneath the words. I heard the anger that was there, the hurt, the kind of ending that does not feel like an ending. And I want to say something about that, because I think it is important for everyone listening tonight who is holding a broken relationship inside them. Not just the sadness of it, but the anger too, the bitterness, the part where someone hurt you, or you hurt someone, or both things happened at once in the way that they often do. A relationship that ends, even one that ends in fire, even one that ends with silence and closed doors and words you never took back, is not a failure. I need you to hear that. It is not a failure. It is a completed chapter, and there is an enormous difference between those two things. A failure is something that should have worked, but did not because of a flaw, a mistake, a shortcoming. A completed chapter is something that was exactly what it was meant to be, for exactly as long as it was meant to be, and then it ended because it was finished. Because the story that the two of you were meant to live together had reached its natural conclusion, and the pain of that ending, the anger, the heartbreak, the long years of carrying it, those things do not mean the relationship was a mistake. They mean it was real. They mean it mattered. They mean you're a person who is capable of loving something deeply enough that losing it left a mark, and that is not the curse. That is actually something to be grateful for, even when it hurts, even when it has hurt for years. I want to speak to you now, the person who is listening to this late into the night, because I know that not everyone who is here tonight is at peace. I know that some of you are in the thick of it. Some of you had your heart broken recently enough that it still feels raw and impossible, and like it will never stop feeling that way. Some of you had your heart broken years ago, and you're where James was before Thursday night, carrying it quietly in that place you do not talk about, wondering if it will always be there. And some of you are somewhere in between, in that strange middle ground where you are mostly okay, but every now and then something catches you off guard, and you realize the thing is still in there. Wherever you are tonight, I want to say this directly to you. You are going to be okay. I know that might feel like the thing people say when they do not know what else to say. I know it might feel hollow or automatic, but I am not saying it because it is a comfortable thing to say. I am saying it because I have been sitting in this quiet room for a long time now, reading letters from people just like you, just like James, and I have seen it happen again and again and again. The healing comes. It does not always come on your schedule. It does not always come in the way you expect, but it comes. It arrived for James on a rainy Thursday night in a room full of old books. It will arrive for you too, in some ordinary moment you cannot yet predict, in some quiet, unremarkable Tuesday evening that will turn out to be the most important Tuesday of your life. It will come. In the meantime, I want to give you permission to do something. I want to give you permission to set it down. Not permanently, not forever, not in a grand gesture, just for tonight, just for these next few hours, before you sleep. You do not have to solve the old hurt tonight. You do not have to figure out who was right or who was wrong or what you should have done differently or what they should have done differently. You do not have to reread the old conversations or replay the old arguments or rehearse the words you never got to say. You do not have to carry any of it tonight. Just for tonight, just for these hours, I am asking you to set it down. Put it gently on the floor beside you. You can pick it back up in the morning if you need to. But just for now, just while you sleep, let it rest. Let yourself rest. You've carried it long enough for one day. And forgiveness. I want to say something about forgiveness because it is one of the most misunderstood things I know of. People think forgiveness means saying that what happened was okay. People think it means excusing the thing that was done or pretending it did not happen or welcoming the person back into your life. And because they think that is what forgiveness requires, they hold on to the anger as a kind of protection. They think, if I forgive, I am giving something up. If I forgive, I am letting them off the hook. I am admitting defeat. I am making myself vulnerable again. But that is not what forgiveness is. Not at all. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about you. It is about choosing to stop carrying the weight of old anger inside your own body, inside your own chest, not for their sake but for yours. It is about saying, I am no longer willing to pay the price of this bitterness. I am not willing to let something that is finished continue to take up space inside me that could be used for something else, something new, something warm. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to someone who hurt you. It is a gift you give to yourself. And you are allowed to give it to yourself. You are allowed to decide, quietly, privately, with no ceremony and no announcement, that you are done carrying it, that you are putting it down, that you are choosing peace over the familiar weight of old pain. James did that on Thursday night. He did not decide to do it. He did not sit down with the intention of forgiving. He just picked up an old book, and a note fell out. And he sat down on the edge of his bed, and he read the words, and the healing was already there, already finished, already done. He just found out about it that night. He just caught up to something that had been quietly true for longer than he realized. And in that moment, that quiet, rainy, lamp-lit moment, he let himself accept it. He let himself be done. He gave himself permission to close the book, gently, and put it back on the shelf. And then he went to sleep. I want you to do that now. I want you to begin moving towards sleep in the way that James did that night, not rushing toward it, not forcing it, just allowing it to come, the way the tide comes in, slowly, naturally, without effort, just letting the night do what the night was meant to do. Picture the room that James was in, that quiet, warm, lamp-lit bedroom late into the night. The rain is still coming down outside, steady and full, drumming softly against the glass of the window. If you press your fingers to the window, you can feel the cold on the other side of the glass, the cold night air, while inside the room is warm and still and amber-colored from the lamp, the kind of warmth that you feel in your whole body, not just on your skin, the kind of warmth that goes into your muscles and asks them to let go. The old book is in James' hands. He is sitting on the edge of his bed, the note carefully folded, tucked back between the pages, back in its place. He is not reading anymore. He is just holding the book, feeling the weight of it in his hands, the soft, warm texture of the old cover under his fingers, the slightly rough feeling of old paper can still smell that dry, particular smell of a book that has been on a shelf for a very long time. It is not an unpleasant smell. It is the smell of time, the smell of years, the smell of a life that has been lived and kept and stored carefully in a room that knows you well. He closes the book. Slowly, he lets the cover fall shut. He holds it closed for a moment, both hands around it, like he is saying goodbye to something, not with sadness, but something more like tenderness, the way you might say goodbye to a person you loved very much at the end of a long and wonderful visit. Not sad, because it is ending. Grateful, because it happened. Peaceful, because it was real. He holds the book that way for a long, quiet moment while the rain comes down outside. Then he stands up, slowly. He walks the few steps to the bookshelf, and he slides the book back into its place, between the two thicker books where it has always lived, where it will probably live for another 20 years, undisturbed, carrying its small secret in its pages. It fits perfectly. It always fits perfectly. He presses it gently with one finger to make sure it is all the way in, and then he lets his hand fall back to his side. He walks to his desk. The lamp is still on, that warm, amber, steady lamp that has been lighting the room all evening while he sorted through books and years and memories. He reaches out his hand, slowly, and he turns it off, and the room goes dark. Not a cold dark, a soft dark, the kind of dark that feels like a blanket rather than an absence, the kind of dark that your eyes adjust to gently, that reveals itself slowly, edges and shapes appearing gradually as your eyes remember how to see in the night. The window, the soft, moving light of the rain, the dark shape of the bookshelf against the wall, the familiar landscape of a room that knows you. He moves to the bed. He pulls back the covers. He gets in, lies down. He pulls the covers up to his chest, and he lets his head sink into the pillow. That particular, wonderful surrender of a body that is ready to rest, that is finally, truly, all the way ready to rest. The pillow is cool against his cheek. The covers are warm and heavy. The mattress holds him the way it always has, the way that only your own bed holds you, with that specific, personal familiarity that no other place in the world quite matches. He listens to the rain, just the rain, nothing else. There is nothing else now. Nothing that needs to be thought about, nothing that needs to be solved or remembered or figured out. Just the rain on the window, steady and rhythmic, soft, constant, just that steady, moving sound. That sound that has been going all evening, underneath everything, underneath the sorting of books and the finding of note and the reading of old words, and the sitting on the edge of the bed, the quiet crying and the peace. It has been there through all of it. Rain has been there, steady, patient, consistent, like time itself, like the healing itself, just going on, quietly, doing its work, whether or not anyone's watching. You can hear it now too, if you listen, even where you are. Even in your room, in your bed, wherever you are listening to this voice in the dark, you can imagine the rain. You can hear it, steady and soft against the glass, running down in thin streams, collecting in the gutters, and the drains, flowing away into the night, taking things with it as it goes, old things, heavy things, Things that you have been carrying for too long that the rain is willing to carry for you now. Just let it. Let the rain take it. Let the sound of it be the only thing in your mind for a little while. Rain sounds like breathing. Did you ever notice that? The steady in and out of it, the rhythm, the way it never quite stops, but also never quite rushes. It just moves at its own pace, unhurried and certain. And if you listen long enough, your own breathing starts to match it without you trying. Your chest rises and falls with it, slowly, easily, without effort. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to try to breathe. You don't have to try to sleep. Just listen to the rain. Just let your body follow it. Your shoulders are heavy now. You can feel that heaviness, that good, welcome heaviness, moving through your shoulders, down your arms, all the way to your hands. Your hands are resting somewhere soft, and they are completely, entirely still. They don't need to hold anything right now. They don't need to do anything. They can just rest, warm and still. While the rain goes on outside, your jaw is loose. Your face is soft. All those small muscles around your eyes, and your forehead, and your cheeks, all those little muscles that spend the whole day holding your expression in place. They are letting go now, one by one, quietly and easily, in the dark. You don't need an expression right now. You don't need to look like anything or be anything. You're just a person lying in the dark listening to the rain. And you are allowed to be completely, thoroughly, restfully at peace. The day is over. Whatever happened in it, whatever was hard about it, whatever is still unresolved and waiting for tomorrow, it is not here right now. Right now, there's only the dark and the rain and the warm and this voice, growing softer now, slowing down now, following you toward sleep the way a lantern follows you through a dark field. You don't have to go fast. We are not going anywhere urgent. We are just walking toward rest, slowly, in the dark, with the rain coming down all around us. James is asleep now. He's been asleep for a while. He is lying in his warm room with the rain on the window and the old book back on its shelf and the note folded inside it, and he is sleeping the deep, clean, untroubled sleep of a person who has put something down that they have been carrying for a very long time. His chest is rising and falling, slowly, easily. His face is completely at peace. He looks younger somehow, the way sleeping people often do. He looks like the young man who first picked up that book in 1997, before all the things that happened, before the love and the loss, and the years of carrying. He looks like himself, his simplest, most rested self, and he is fine. He is more than fine. He is at peace, and you are moving toward that same place right now. I can hear it in the way you are breathing. Slower now, deeper now. Your body knows what it is doing. Your body has always known how to find sleep. It does not need instructions. It just needs the permission, and I am giving you that permission right now. You are allowed to sleep. You are allowed to stop. You are allowed to let the night be exactly what it is. A quiet, dark, warm, safe space where nothing is required of you and everything is allowed to rest. The rain is steady. The room is warm. The old hurts are resting. Your heart is doing fine. Close your eyes, if they are not already closed. Let the last thoughts of the day move through you like clouds moving through a dark sky. there for a moment and then gone, leaving nothing behind but the open, quiet dark. You don't need to catch them. You don't need to hold them. Just let them move. Let them pass. Let them go wherever thoughts go. When sleep finally comes, you are almost there. You are so close. Just the rain now. Just the rain. The dark and the warmth and the slow, steady, peaceful rhythm of a heart that has done enough for one day and is ready, finally, fully, completely ready to rest. Sleep now. Sleep well. I will be here when you need me. I'm your friend, Arthur, and I will see you next time. Good night. you